Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, November 17th, 2025. I am Dave Biddle, very happy joined by Dan Rubin. Welcome back, sir, after taking most of last week off. Good to see you again. How many cups of coffee are we dealing with? One cup so far, two? Two?
I'm like one and moving on to the second purposely. Otherwise, I'd be too fired up. That plus my return, I'd probably get digressed myself right out of here.
I needed to know what kind of like energy level I was dealing with here. Okay, we got 1.5 cups of coffee, Dan Rubin. Okay, that's the proper amount of energy. We don't want you to be low energy by any means.
True.
We don't need the shaky Kramer. I can get as many coffee lattes as I want. I can get as many lattes as I want.
I've been drinking coffee lattes since the third grade.
How many have you had today? I like 20. They're free.
Yeah.
All right,
no Kramer imitations.
All right, so like Dan and I later, you can see the headline of the show if you haven't already. We're going to basically rank Ohio State's. I don't know who would be most concerned about Ohio State playing. I'm really not that concerned about anybody, but if we're ranking them in order, like we think Ohio State, I imagine Dan and I will collaborate on this, is going to be one. Then who would be number two? Like on a neutral field, who do we think would be the next best team? And we're going to get into that. We're going to go 1 through 5. Before we do that, Dan, so I did a column on the site this morning, talked about this over the weekend as well. Just very simple, just 1 through 10, your concern level on Ohio State's injury situation, because I still maintain, 10 games deep into a season and playing a violent sport, they're like in a pretty good shape health-wise overall. But in the last 2 weeks, they went from almost couldn't believe how healthy they were to kind of banged up now these last couple of weeks. Ryan Day said Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate's not long-term. Hopefully that means they'll be fine in 12 days, if you know what I mean. They did get some guys back like Phillip Daniels and Tywone Malone. CJ Donaldson was out. Julian got banged up a little bit. All right, so I put it at a 5. I'm at a 5 on a 1 through 10 scale, not sounding alarms, certainly not blowing it off. Where are you at?
I don't even think I would get to a 5 personally.
Good.
Just because I think this has been the theme of the season in a lot of ways. This is just it's consistent. Had the last few weeks been inconsistent in terms of resting guys, in terms of them playing fewer plays than any other team. I think the statistic we heard a few weeks ago that if they've played basically a game less by the end of the season, I just think this is part and parcel of how they're going to do it. The Carnell Tate one I find interesting because it got shut down. I'll say, let's take his little break right after everyone in the world agreed he's probably going to be a top 10 draft pick. And they were like, all right, now that we got that locked up, why don't you take a couple weeks off? I'm not concerned about it, to tell you the truth. I think they've got great depth. It's football. So injuries are not a variable. They're a constant. You're going to have injuries. I think that was Brian Balding I heard say it recently. Football, the injury rate is 100%. If you play long enough, you're going to get injured. So I don't have any issue with it. I think it falls into the plan. And they have enough good players that building depth, I think, is important. I even liked seeing the South Dakota guy get in there and throw some passes around. So I'm not concerned. There you have it.
Good.
I'll say also on a number, I'll give it a 2.5.
Yeah, good. Because I did a radio show in Columbus yesterday, and my co-host was a 7 and the producer was a 6. So I'm like, am I a little too
Based
low?
on what?
Huh?
Based on what or who?
Well, okay. Scotty, my good friend who's the co-host, said he was at a 2. Then he saw the way Jeremiah was limping. How he's like, that shot it up to a 7. He might have been joking a little bit, but he was just like, that's not like, we're just being cautious with him. He's like, he was struggling to walk, and he's Superman. So that caused him to go from a 2 to a 7 because he thinks Jeremiah might be a little more banged up than we think.
If Jeremiah is really actually hurt, I'd be a little more concerned. Rolling your ankle in a football game is happens. By the way, I thought there were 2 late hits on Julian that were not called.
Yes.
I don't know why you can take a step and pop him in the chest. That makes me more angry than and then that's how he sprained his ankle. He was recovering.
Yes,
Right?
and I'll tell you what, I loved that James. I would have loved it anyway. I loved it even more that James Peoples, the dude that he jumped over, was that same guy, 21, who took that late shot at Julian. 21.
Very cool.
As every good football coach says, or even bad football coaches, they teach you see what you hit, see what you hit. They don't teach you duck and cover. That kid just ducked and covered, and James Peoples said, "Whoop, I'll go right over you, buddy." That was really.
We'll say this: leaping over people. Yeah, that's a recent phenomenon in football. The leaping over people and when the guy is stopped, everyone pushing him for another 2 yards. People didn't do that 5 or 6 years ago at any level. So whatever. Very impressed with James Peoples. I thought that was kind of emblematic of the team's psyche, that a guy who's technically probably your 4th-string running back is the highlight guy. That's impressive just in general. But no, I'm just not worried. If you're worried about Ohio State right now, you're just someone who's worried. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why
it's football season. Everyone gets hurt a little bit. Is there another team that has as much juice going for them now and at any level? I can't be complaining about the Buckeyes right now. That just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't go with our mantra of still basking. It's not still worrying. It's not still fretting, still grousing. No, it is still basking. Okay, good. Now I went from thinking I was being too rose-colored glasses to now I feel like maybe I'm being a little too harsh saying 5. I'm right in the middle with a 5. And it's a little bit recency bias too, because they went from, like I said, I've never seen a football team that healthy through 8 games, and in the last couple of games been banged up. Then again, I think a guy like Carnell Tate, if you take Ryan Day at his word, which I do, could have played against Purdue last week, dressed, had something tighten up on him in warmups. Maybe he was dealing with something earlier in the week too, and they're just like, let's not even chance it. Probably could have played against UCLA. They're like, why even worry about it? It is interesting. This will be Carnell Tate's last chance to play at Ohio Stadium this coming Saturday. Yeah, he could come back as a senior. He won't. I know I'm not breaking news there. So there is that, but it's not just the Michigan game. They are then playing for a national championship as well. So you err on the side of caution this week against Rutgers. Just err on the side of caution. Yeah.
I get it. I will say this. Perhaps it's just my overwhelming confidence in Matt Patricia's defense, but there were years I probably would have been a little bit more nervous, even when Ohio State had really, really good teams. I'm air quoting there, that the defense would make me a little oogie, that were like, dude, come on. They do this and that, and they could pull it off. The way the team is set up now, I wasn't worried. I mean, did anyone, and I mean anyone, feel one pang of nervousness from UCLA? And I think the answer would be no. So I think some of this really is opponent dependent, if I can get that out correctly. I'm not concerned. I mean, if that's me wearing scarlet and gray covered glasses, hello, I'm the publisher of a site called Bucknuts, so I might be.
What is it not called?
What's that now?
What is the site not called?
It's not called Buck Rational Observers. Okay. Speaking of Buck Rational, he does like the werewolf. And I got to say this out loud. Arvell Reese has attained our werewolf Hall of Fame status. He runs through people. You want to know the number one thing for a werewolf? It looks like he's tackling the guy behind him. And he just kind of runs through that guy, and it kind of doesn't look like a form tackle, and the guy goes down, looks kind of hurt. That's a werewolf. I digress there a little bit. Sorry.
Or it looks like he doesn't have the angle on him, and then he just destroys him.
He just turns and runs through the guy, and just the guy just it's like a physics experiment. And the guy just kind of breaks up like the Matrix, and he's kind of standing there, and you're like, ooh, kind of feel sorry for the guy. That's Arvell in a nutshell. By the way, everyone else has caught on. I thought I was. We had a show here a while back, Dave, called Hyperbolic Stuff, and I said you get drafted in front of Caleb Downs, and now basically everyone in the country thinks he's the number 1 player in the country. That's just gone absolutely bonkers. But no, not stressed about the injuries. The most stress I got about the injuries all season was when Julian rolled his ankle.
I know. I was worried about that because we've seen, and then it was awesome.
That could be your knee.
And was able to, like, even though he was limping, it was awesome that he was like able to walk off on his own power, even though he was limping. But how many times have we seen this? Like, I remember being a Bengals fan when Kijana Carter tore his ACL in a preseason game. He got up like nothing happened, limped a little bit, went over to the sideline, and then it was like, oh, okay, he's fine. Torn ACL. So, and I've seen that with other players. That's just one example. So until they cleared him, I was a little worried about that. That's the last thing we need is to get, I still think he's going to win the Heisman. I know Mendoza's the favorite now. It'll work itself out.
Time out on that.
Most likely go at each other in Indianapolis. If the Buckeyes take care of business on the field, beat Michigan, beat Indiana, Saban's going to win the Heisman. But yeah, dude, that was
same for Mendoza.
A collective gasp from Buckeye Nation. You could just almost feel it and hear it. Yeah.
When he got pushed, he kind of had that false step, and it was like, and he went down for a second. That's how you hurt your knee. I agree with you about the Heisman. The Big Ten championship game is just basically going to be when I looked at the dates, it's like what, X hours afterwards. The issue will be, as you know, the voting. You can turn your votes in whenever, I think, can't you?
Yeah, most people are saying they're not going to vote till after the championship game, but there's
pretty obvious.
The Heisman committee should just say you cannot vote until after all the games are played. You leave it up to the voters, because then they're going to have whatever percentage of voters that will get it in early for whatever reason, which is stupid.
I think the question for Ohio State is whether Jeremiah gets the invite as well. I could see that happening. I think I could be wrong here. It does feel like Sain and Mendoza have kind of pulled away from the group.
Oh, for sure. If you look at the betting odds, it's a 2-horse race. You maybe could make an argument it's a 3-horse race with Marcel Reed. Again, just not going by what sports writers say or anybody, fans, what the betting odds say. Mendoza's like even money. Sain's like 2-1. Marcel Reed's 5-1. No, everybody else is a major long shot. Like the fourth best odds is Diego Pavia at 20-1. He ain't winning it at 20-1. So
he's got some impressive numbers, though.
It's like a 2-horse race, or maybe if you want to include Marcel Reed at 5-1, because that's not a super long shot. It's at least a 3-horse race, or at the most a 3-horse race.
Well, keep in mind, if you're projecting it forward, if Sain beats that team up north on the road and then beats Mendoza in the championship game,
right,
he'll have it by halftime, if they're up big. Because keep in mind, when they beat the team up north, there's going to be some credit to go around, because that's a biggie.
People are still trying to get JJ. Listen, I hear you, Las Vegas Buckeyes. Our guy, he's like, what if JJ goes for 10 catches and over 200 yards versus Michigan, plus a highlight catch? Well, unless Lincoln Keenholz is throwing him those passes, guess who's going to also get credit for that? And it'd be one thing, because keep in mind, I'm being a little facetious there, but here's the thing. JJ's odds right now are like 35-1, right? Julian's 2-1. If it was like it was going into the Wisconsin game, if you remember, they were both at 14-1. So if it was like already equal and Jeremiah had a big game and he was maybe the reason why the stats look so good, because he was making crazy catches, then maybe I could get on board with that. Yeah, JJ could win it. But unless Sain's not playing, all of those stats will also go to Julian that Jeremiah's getting. And he's got such a massive lead already over JJ. I just don't see a path for JJ. That being said, I'm glad Ohio State's doing a Heisman campaign for him. Like, keep that young man happy. The last time I checked, Julian's coming back next year. Jeremiah's coming back next year. Bo Jackson's coming back next year, and a bunch of other guys. So we're still going to be basking.
I think I told you this on an earlier show. I looked it up. There is no other team in the top 20 that can bring back their quarterback, receiver, top quarterback, top receiver, and top running back. When I say can, I mean even has the option to. Right. One of them's a senior or a guaranteed going off to the pro guy. So we won the national championship last year, brought back our 2 best players, and you could still make that same argument this coming year, which is unbelievable in and of itself. I think what's happening here is we're getting into an issue of nobody in the right mind thinks Jeremiah Smith, don't double negative. Jeremiah Smith is the best player in college football.
Right.
Will he win the Heisman Trophy? I don't believe so. Again, Jeremiah Smith is the best player in college football. He won't win the Heisman Trophy. That will not change the fact that he's the best player in college football. It's a quarterback's award. By the end of the year now, you can literally match up the rankings and the quarterbacks. We're not talking about 3 quarterbacks on 3 random teams. It's
Right.
1, 2, and 3.
Who do you think was a better football player? Danny Werfel or Orlando Pace?
I covered Danny Werfel with the Redskins for a little bit. I'm going to go with O'Pace on that.
Yeah, in 1996, who won the Heisman? Danny Werfel. Now, who finished 4th? Pretty good for an offensive lineman. That Big O finished 4th and won the Lombardi and the Outland, of course, again. To your point, though, it doesn't always go to, most of the time, you could argue, it doesn't necessarily go to the best player in college football, because Orlando Pace was without question the best player in college football. He was actually for 2 straight years. We're okay with Orlando not winning in 95 because Eddie won in 95, but Orlando really should have won it in 96. And they did have somebody actually answered the question like I was being serious. Yes.
Yeah.
Orlando Pace was a better football player than Danny Werfel. Yes,
he was.
True. Steve Spurrier won the Heisman that year. If you want to be real, his system won the Heisman. But yeah, I mean, Orlando should have won it in 96, but that's okay. All right, let's move along here. All right. Number 1, we're going to rank these teams in order, the top 5 teams. Okay. Who's Ohio State's biggest threat to win the national championship? However we want to do it. Like, just, these are the 5 best teams, as you were saying earlier, Dan, before we went on the air. Like, we're not trying to rank these, like who deserves what. Like, no, they're playing on a neutral field. 1 would beat 2, 2 would beat 3, 3 would beat 4, 4 would beat 5. That's how we're doing this. And there's going to be a collaborative effort. Number 1, I don't think we're going to have to debate too much.
Hold on, quick point, Dave. Quick point.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Because I know people are going to look to poke holes. And when I say neutral field, this also includes, this is not playing Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Okay, when they're like, it's a neutral field. Sure it is.
Right, in Atlanta. Right.
No. This is a neutral field.
Been there, done that, by the way.
It's on Mars.
We did that in 2022 and still should have won the game. But people are, it's a neutral field. Really? Okay, how about we play the next game in Cincinnati or Cleveland and call that a neutral field? You want to do that?
I was just going to – that's so funny you say that. It's like, what if we played it at Cleveland Stadium?
Yeah.
Whatever they call that now.
Field? And this is like Atlanta is, even though Georgia Tech's in Atlanta's still absolutely a UGA town. There's no doubt about that. Now, more of a G Tech town this year than typically, because G Tech is actually decent. All right, let's get to it now. All right. So number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, I would suggest Georgia.
I agree.
Okay.
Not even close.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're a flawed team, but like, they're playing better. Gunnar Stockton's better than what I thought he would be. Would I trade him for Julian Sand? Heck no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. There's no way. Julian Sand's better, but he's good. He's gone from a guy I didn't think could throw the ball to he's actually a decent passer and he can run. And we know they have talent. So yeah, Georgia's 2. All right, 3 is going to be interesting. I have Indiana.
So do I.
Okay.
It was tough, but I do.
This is a real this is a heated debate right here between.
No, but it's just you're a smart
really
kid.
Going at it.
You've always been a smart kid.
So, all right. So we got the top 3. All right, 4th. Number 4. Who are we going with here? Notre Dame?
Yes. That's funny you say that. Yes.
We're on the same wavelength here. Okay.
I watched A&M. So for me, it was Notre Dame or Oregon. There's part of Oregon that's teams. This is just probably my recruiting blood coming through. Teams that we recruit against, where when they play, I can name almost their entire team because they came down to Ohio State and Oregon, Ohio State, whatever. I tend to respect more. Georgia, just player for player, is going to be as talented as almost anybody else. And you can say, just going back to Georgia a little bit, they get up for big games. When you watch Georgia play Texas, that's better than they'll play against Mississippi State. And obviously in a playoff game against the Baskers, they're gonna get their best punch. Indiana, I still have some Indiana in me. I know they're really, really good. I do have a feeling it's a little bit smoke and mirrors. Notre Dame is hot and plays defense. After that, man.
A&M, I know that they struggled, but I don't know if I can put them past 5th. And they, by the way, we put Notre Dame 4th. A&M went to South Bend and won. I know
that was a long time ago.
I know everybody acts to act like the first week of the season doesn't count now, or the first 2 weeks don't count, even though we say in college football, week 1 means as much as week 12. But people act like Alabama. Now, good thing Alabama lost. Good for Oklahoma. people act like that Alabama Florida State game was like a preseason game, Dan. Like that was a regular season game and it wasn't even that close. Florida State's a bad team. They won that game by 14 and it wasn't even that close. The score made it look a little better than what it really was. And people were like, it was week 1. It's like they lost to freaking Florida State. It's a bad loss. Anyway,
You're right.
My little tangent that I went on there, Dan.
I think you're right. I will say this. I don't want to jinx them. Georgia is the only team right now that would give me like pure fear. Like if we go out there and make 2 or 3 mistakes, like you can't go out there against Georgia like they'll do and like turn it over on the first possession or get a punt blocked early or something like that. You got to play a clean game. There's a bunch of teams on here where I'd be pretty comfortable even if they don't play our A game.
Right.
I don't feel that way about Georgia. Georgia, go ahead.
Play our C game. Georgia's the one where you might not have to play your A games. I do think Ohio State's a better team.
Definitely.
But you better not play your C game against Georgia. You're going to lose that game unless they play their C game. So yeah, you're right. I mean, that's why we have them number 2. And it's really bunched together there. Yeah, if Indiana had this exact same personnel, but they were, a different team, more of a name brand, Oregon, let's say, maybe people would be feeling – maybe they'd be number 2. And the Penn State game, I mean, that gives me pause. And I know Penn State's played better, since Franklin got fired, but Ohio State smoked them. They hung in pretty good with Ohio State in the first half. But
the war of attrition, too, Indiana just isn't as deep. And we've still got a long way to go if you look at the schedule. Getting back to your original, premise for the show, the idea of the injuries and stuff like that. Ohio State is a been there, done that program. There's only one person who's navigated the playoff of this ilk for a title, and he's coaching the Buckeyes. So the idea that they wouldn't have learned something from that, I would think would be a little too Indiana favored there. So, I got to see. Also, there is part of me with Indiana that they're talented, but when it comes right down to it, I'm in the Urban Meyer thing. Tell me about draft picks. And I just think they don't have enough guys to match up with Ohio State when it comes right down to it. That's what makes Georgia so difficult is that if everybody on Georgia plays their best game, they are the second best team just because of the talent. Now, I will say this. Georgia's defensive line, I don't think had a sack through the first 4 games of the season. Considering 2 of our best players on defense are from Georgia, that would seem to me to be poor recruiting on their part. Do it the other way around. What if the 2 best players on Georgia's defense were from Ohio? How do you think we'd be handling that right now?
I know, and you've mentioned
the answer.
Great
Poorly.
Point. Yes, people didn't handle it well. When who was the kid from South Carolina? From
Dylan Stewart?
Ryan Brewer.
Oh, Ryan Brewer. Oh, back at the
people were like freaking out though. How come we didn't offer him? It's like no one was saying that. Like when they did 5'8" running back, wherever he was a hell of a good high school running back. He won Mr. Football. And he goes on to South Carolina. As soon as like he's helping South Carolina beat Ohio State in an Outback Bowl, people are like, "What the heck are we doing here?" You're right. If it was like Caden McDonald, you got to let him get out of state. Caleb Downs. And what if Ohio State had 2 chances at Caleb Downs and went 0 for 2? Because Georgia had 2 chances at him and went 0 for 2. Yeah, and also Edric Houston. I also love that Caden McDonald, a guy that doesn't get enough respect as one of the all-time greats at Ohio State. He does get more respect as an NFL great, I think, is Cameron Hayward. Another guy from that exact same town, Swanee, Georgia. Exact same. I think they went to different high schools, but the same town. Swanee, Georgia, Cameron Hayward. Then years later, we get Caden McDonald. Or is it the same?
Who went to different high schools?
Did Cameron Hayward and Caden McDonald go to the same high school?
No, I don't think so. I want to say that Cam Hayward went to the same high school as Brad Roby. It's called Peachtree Ridge. I think.
Yes. You're right.
Yeah, Caden McDonald was Gwinnett County Defensive Player of the Year, though, in the newspaper. So too short for Georgia.
North Gwinnett.
Just right for us.
Yeah, he went to North Gwinnett, but Ohio State lists him as being from Swanee, Georgia. So yeah, they went to different
in that town.
Same town, Swanee, Georgia. So we have D tackles in Swanee, Georgia. Come to Ohio State. You can be the next Cam Hayward, who's probably going to be an NFL or a Pro Football Hall of Famer. notched another win against my Bengals yesterday. It wasn't close. And then Caden McDonald, he is the best one tech in college football. And there was that play, 64 for UCLA. Their guard, he's a big boy. I mean, they list him at like, I think 330. I'll be
Hoon
64, big guy
founded.
for UCLA. There's a play where Caden McDonald, it's going to be a bad day in the film room for number 64 for UCLA. His boys are just going to be getting all over. There was a play where one-on-one, Caden McDonald just threw this guy back into the backfield. Probably the only time in his life he's gotten thrown back like that. And Caden just got into him and just threw him back, just completely blew up the play, threw him back into the running back and the quarterback. And I was just like jumping out of my chair, like, I turned into like a caveman. I was like yelling like that. So, yeah, I turn into a serial killer sometimes when I watch my football teams, Dan.
By the way, Caden,
maybe I overshared there a little bit.
If you followed Dane Brugler when we had him on the show, and what Dane's doing now, he's higher on Caden McDonald. I mean, he has Arvell Reese number 1 overall.
He does. I did a story on the site. I thought about you when I saw that. I was like, Dan's gonna be doing a victory lap, but Dan, you should be. You called it.
Here's how. Well, I'll tell you. Here's how I came up with the Arvell Reese thing. I've told this story. I was watching the Cowboys' second game with my son, and the defense is so bad. It's just so bad. And I thought to myself, if we could have anybody in college football, who would we take to help the defense? And it was Arvell Reese. So I contacted somebody and said, Arvell Reese is going to get picked before Caleb Downs. Now, partially it's because Arvell showed he could get to the quarterback. Caleb is a safety. That's just NFL, the way they do it. And I got back, well, who's saying that? Kind of doubting me. A month later, the werewolf will travel.
I thought Caleb would go ahead of him. It looks like I'm going to be wrong.
Positionally.
I still wouldn't be shocked if Caleb goes ahead of him just because.
Oh, Dave. You're Dave.
I won't be shocked. You're talking
Dave.
About it's not like so Dane has Arvell 1. It's not like he has Caleb like 25th.
I know, but everybody has Arvell 1 now.
All it takes is 1. Yeah, but that's okay. Maybe it's just because I follow the Bengals, although your team actually drafts pretty well compared to the Bengals. The Bengals just do stupid stuff. They took that I call him Shemar Stewart. They took Shemar Stewart. Everybody that I know,
everybody
was like, what a terrible pick. Duke Tobin's smarter than everybody else. All it takes is one team. Now, I'm not saying it would be stupid to take Caleb over Arvell. I do think Arvell is going to get taken, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing that we've seen if Caleb goes ahead of Arvell.
I don't want to build your hopes up, but you're starting to see a lot of Caleb Downs to the Bengals because he kind of lasted longer than he should.
Well, if they keep losing, then they'll be right in position to.
Yeah. So what's happening also, and I can speak for a team like this. What's happening also is people are. So I do feel like we're like a month ahead usually on Ohio State type stuff. Then the national media kind of comes around in about a month. They come around. What you're also having happening is a lot of teams are out of it when it comes to the playoffs. So in order to keep their customers, they've shifted somewhat to draft content, thinking for the future. And what happens is a lot of these people, unbiased from all these 32 teams that have plenty of content, are going to the tape and starting to watch. I can tell you this. Last week, there were 3 Dallas Cowboys podcasts where Arvell Reese was the picture on the podcast. It was like targets for the draft. And then what happened, the guys I listened to who are unbiased with an NFL scouting background are like, have you watched Ohio State yet? They're like, have you seen the linebackers? And then they're like, then I watch it. Number 2, who's that? And then they're like, here's what we're doing in the draft. We're not getting Arvell Reese.
No.
And you guys are not we're going to pick Caleb with our first pick, then we're going to come back and get Sonny with our next pick. And I'm going to shut it down. So, I mean, it's
Mendoza
pretty rare.
Overall. Mendoza will go number 1 overall.
You think?
Just because of quarterbacks, don't you?
I do. I also think
number 1. Yeah. I think
have you ever heard him interviewed?
Have I heard him interviewed?
Yeah.
Briefly. Cocky?
No.
What do you?
I would say borderline.
You're trying to be nice, I can tell. You want to
borderline.
You want to say
nerd. I don't know how else to say it.
Borderline nerd?
Yes.
That's good. I want my quarterbacks to be nerdy. The best quarterbacks are football nerds. Peyton Manning was a football nerd.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's not a nerd, but like the way that you want your quarterback not to be. I would say this: you can be a diva and be a good wide receiver in the NFL.
True.
You can be a diva and be a good corner.
Oh, you know how I feel
You
about
cannot be a diva and be a. Now there are exceptions to every rule. Look at the best quarterbacks in the NFL. They're just not divas. They're not. And I know Aaron Rodgers turned into one, but I don't think he was necessarily a diva early in his career. Then he won a Super Bowl and all the ads started coming, discount, double check, and all that with the belt and everything. But like most of the time, like Patrick Mahomes, not a diva, football nerd. I want my football nerds.
He's a nerd. I'm not comparing nerd to diva. I'm talking. He's like they called him the Wall Street quarterback. He's extremely nerdy. I don't know how else to say for a quarterback. I'll say this: Tom Brady may have been a nerd. You're gonna get struck by lightning if you say out loud Tom Brady's a nerd right now, given his track record. Okay. Secondly, and I don't mean on the football field. Hello.
I know what you mean. But when it comes to football, he's very nerdy. But like
he's gonna. Yeah, I think Mendoza is going to be compared personality-wise. I would say Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is another guy. I mean, you just look around. I mean, like I said, Patrick Mahomes. Who are some of the best quarterbacks? I mean, like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, even though he's,
not a nerd.
Doesn't play very often. Dak Prescott.
Here's my point. You paint your nails like Caleb Williams, I will not draft you. That sounds ridiculous. You could paint your nails at any other position. I'm not doing it with the quarterback. You can't wear pajama bottoms to a 7-on-7. Nico Iamaleava did that. I'm out immediately.
We were talking about that last week.
Immediately.
He said, I wish you could bet on like, okay, this kid's going to be a bust just based on stuff like that. Like, okay, we're a wife beater and pajama pants to like a recruiting event. This kid's going to be a bust.
I saw
Lamar Jackson is not a diva. Lamar Jackson is football. The best quarterbacks are just, they just
Robert Griffin. Football. When he wore the socks and he's like party on the left, business on the right. I'm out. I am out. That all works until you lose. And everyone's like, take off the damn socks and read the defense. No one cares.
People are loving it too. They're
no,
like,
it's so true.
Dan, agreed, Dan. They're like, preach it, Dan. It's like Sunday and Dan's the pastor, man. They're like, preach it.
It's like this too. I had this discussion with somebody. John Gruden, I say this all the time. You've heard me say this. John Gruden wakes up at 3:17 a.m. every day without an alarm clock. He's crazy.
He still does? I know he did when he was coaching. Yeah.
Well, he says no, dude, once that starts, you don't just shut it off based on your employment. Your brain's set.
He is nuts. And I love it. I love Gruden.
For your football coach.
Stuff is still one of the coolest things ever.
I know, but for your football, I don't want my son doing that every day. That's not healthy. But for my football coach, more power to you, dude. I grew up in Washington, D.C., where Joe Gibbs, didn't live in his house. And on Wednesday nights, he would listen as he ate by himself to a cassette tape that his wife taped at the dinner table on Tuesday night. He'd sit and eat by himself on Wednesday listening to it. And I was like, see, not sane, but have the Redskins been better since he left? I don't think so. And by the way, they're not called the Redskins. I get it. But I'm serious on that. Julian Sand. Oh, he's boring. He doesn't say anything. He looks like a baby, blah, blah, blah. Great. If those are the complaints, how he looks and he's too vanilla, now we are talking. Fernando Mendoza, like going back to the original point, I believe, I'll tell you this, the fact that he's nerdy like that and he already knows when he wants to invest all his money when he gets, I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Definitely.
Long-term investment. Yeah. You want a nerd who's 26 and has $1 billion. Hello, there are distractions.
No doubt about it. I mean, that's the thing about what Ryan Day's doing over there, man. They're recruiting, and Mark Pantoni, it's not just Ryan Day, but he it starts at the top. The culture that he's created over there, where every football team has slogans and stuff. Sometimes they can be corny. Sometimes they actually live up to them. Sometimes they don't. Well, Ohio State's is tough love. And they want to, when they're on the football field, they want to be tough dudes, and they want to just take it at you, physical. But they want each other to love each other off the field, take care of each other. He's big into mental health. And what's he also doing? He's not just recruiting 5-star athletes. I mean, he is doing that. He's getting 5-star young men. When we were over there interviewing these guys, it's amazing how mature they are, how smart they are. The APR for the team has never been higher. Tim May pointed that out, and that helps. It makes you like you're an intelligent football team and you're also ultra talented. That's going to give you an edge. I'm just so impressed with what Ryan Day's done over there, with the culture he's created, the type of kid he's bringing in without sacrificing any talent. In fact, this might be the best Ohio State team I've seen. I know we said that in 2019 as well, and they fell short. We'll never know, though. They got screwed against Clemson. That's the only game they lost. They should have at least had a chance to play UCLA. Dobbins would have missed the game. He can't catch a break, man. He's out for the year again. At least he's played 6 years in the NFL, though, made some money, and now he'll have that pension. You know, you only have to play 3 years to get the pension. Then you get more invested each year you play. So 6 years, he'll be able to play another year, I'm sure. So he'll have at least 7 years of service time. So he'll be taken care of, but that's too bad. J.K. Dobbins just can't stay healthy in the NFL.
Great.
All right.
I'm going to say this, Dave.
Yeah.
I do think it all falls in line. And we took some crap more on the recruiting shows Tuesdays and Thursdays about how the team was being built. And we said, just relax. The cream rises to the top. The biggest reason I'm convinced of this, that Ohio State is where they are now, is because of their approach to the locker room, how they've doled out NIL. You said they like tough love. You do have to come to Ohio State and prove it. We've said this. And so the salary structure has not been upset in the locker room. The fact that our defensive ends are this good, we're at Ohio State each for 3 years and never started a game, is such a strong statement for the program. I cannot say this enough. You can go look up and down every roster. If you can find one guy like that on the roster, a senior who is starting, who would have been a starter. Kenyatta Jackson probably could have started as a true sophomore at a bunch of schools. Caden Curry, you don't think he could have gone back to Indiana as a sophomore and started? Those guys are going to end up benefiting from that. That builds on itself now. They can honestly say to you when you walk in the doors, dude, if you stick it here, you will be a pro, a big-time pro. Max Clare, do you think he regrets transferring when he's not gotten the targets? Absolutely not. So people just need to trust in the process here a little bit and not get freaked out by not getting Braylon Womack, okay, who's now just doing his tour through the bottom feeders of the SEC. We don't need guys like that here. I know that sounds ridiculous. Now, Braylon Womack, if he goes there for a year, gets disenfranchised and wants to come up here for a reasonable rate, bring it on. But, I mean, they know what they're doing. I think they've proven that. They're operating, to me now, on the benefit of the doubt. If we're not giving Ohio State currently the benefit of the doubt, you, my friend, don't give out the benefit of the doubt. What would they need to do? By the way, is Bo Jackson better than you thought? Mark Porter and I discussed this. No one saw more than and he's amazing. By the way, Bo Jackson is a really good back. I wanted to say that. He's a really good, he's not just a good freshman back. He's a really good running back. I mean, he is a pro running back.
Yeah, he's averaging 6.6 yards to carry.
That's why I don't freak out about the running game.
Oh, yeah. And I know UCLA doesn't have a good running defense, but you got all three of those guys look good. Isaiah West maybe not is the pass catcher out of the backfield. The other guys are, at least Bo and James, but Isaiah West runs the ball really well. By the way, you look at you've seen the picture of Jeremiah Smith with the neck is just, it's like, wow. You can tell just by looking at his neck how much he works out. Look at a picture of Isaiah West. Everybody, we're about to wrap up the show. You can go on and look at his picture on Ohio State's official roster. Isaiah West's neck. Oh, man, you can tell this guy does not miss a day in the weight room. It is just chiseled. He looks like he's like a bodybuilder in the neck, and so does Jeremiah. All right.
Another thing, Dave, last one.
Yeah.
James Peoples having the day he had and the reaction he had from his teammates.
Yeah.
The fact that he's gone from someone on our roundtable picked him to be the offensive MVP to the fourth-string running back. Does it look like his effort has waned? Does it look like his commitment to winning has waned? No, dude. So you got that at that point in time, that's a culture thing. Brandon Innes, like I said, finished 7th in receptions last year as a wide receiver on the team and was voted captain. You know what I'm saying? When good things happen for other dudes, look how excited Brandon Innes is for the guys. I mean, they needed him to come through for that game. He came through. I mean, things are going quite well. And like I said, if you're not giving this group the benefit of the doubt, You're just not a benefit of the doubt type, which is okay.
All right, guys, we are benefit of the doubt type people here on the Bucknuts Morning 5 because we are still basking. We will be for quite some time.
It's a thing.
Great stuff out of Dan Rubin. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Dan and the boys will be talking recruiting tomorrow. The Buckeyes just keep getting commits. Is
that going well?
It's going pretty well. Look forward to seeing Dan and the boys tomorrow. It'll be Garrick and the Poobah.
Of course.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. Go Bucks.